Oh, good, you're here. Are you still fighting? If you get divorced, do I get 2 Christmases?
We're not getting divorced.
Listen, we realized that we're facing some new challenges as a married couple.
Forget the string theory and the comic book debates. Today, we're pivoting from the laboratory to the red carpet. For 12 years, we watched the Pasadena gang navigate awkward first dates and televised weddings. But what happens when the cameras stop rolling? Does life imitate art? Or are these sitcom stars living a totally different reality? From secret 2-year romances to fairy tale marriages with literal royalty, here are the real-life partners of the Big Bang Theory cast. Jim Parsons, Sheldon Cooper. While Sheldon Cooper spent years calculating the probability of human contact and drafting extensive relationship agreements just to hold hands, Jim Parsons was living a much more grounded and consistent love story behind the scenes. In fact, while Sheldon was struggling to understand the nuance of a sarcasm sign, Jim was quietly building a foundation with the man who would eventually become his husband. For the majority of the time that the Big Bang Theory sat atop the sitcom throne, Jim's private life was a sanctuary of stability, tucked away from the frantic energy of the paparazzi and the intense scrutiny that usually follows a television megastar. The man in question is Todd Spiewak, a talented graphic designer and art director. Their origin story sounds like something straight out of a classic rom-com, minus the laugh track. The pair met on a blind date at a karaoke bar back in 2002, long before Bazinga became a global catchphrase. According to Jim, the night was relatively low-key, though Todd was busy singing I Found Someone by Cher, which, in hindsight, was incredibly prophetic. Jim has often joked that he wasn't looking for a grand Hollywood romance. He was just a working actor who found a person he actually wanted to talk to. At that time, Jim was still years away from landing the role of the prickly theoretical physicist that would change his life, meaning Todd was there for the before just as much as the after. For years, the couple lived a very quiet life in Los Angeles. Even as Jim's fame skyrocketed and he began sweeping the Emmys, he kept his personal life close to the chest. It wasn't until a 2012 profile in the New York Times that Jim officially came out to the public, casually mentioning that he was in a 10-year relationship. There was no flashy magazine cover or dramatic announcement. It was handled with the same quiet dignity that Jim brings to all his public appearances. He later described the revelation as a non-event, noting that the industry and his fans had largely already embraced him for who he was. The pinnacle of their journey came in May 2017, when the couple finally tied the knot at the legendary Rainbow Room in New York City. The wedding was a sophisticated, star-studded affair, yet it felt deeply personal. Jim shared photos of the event on Instagram, showing the two of them looking dapper in Tom Ford tuxedos, glowing with a type of happiness that Sheldon Cooper would probably try to quantify with a complex algorithm. Jim has frequently credited Todd as the best thing that ever happened to him, often stating that their relationship is an act of love rather than a political statement. What makes their dynamic so fascinating to fans is how much Todd contrasts with the character of Sheldon. While Sheldon was neurotic and socially stagnant, Todd is widely described by friends of the couple as the stabilizing force that allowed Jim to navigate the whirlwind of 12 seasons of a hit show. Todd even co-founded a production company, That's Wonderful Productions, with Jim, proving that they are partners in both life and business. They've produced projects like A Kid Like Jake and Special, showing a shared commitment to telling diverse, meaningful stories. Today, the couple splits their time between New York and Los Angeles, often seen at Broadway openings or tennis matches, proving that while Sheldon Cooper might have found his soft kitty in Amy Farrah Fowler, Jim Parsons found his soulmate in a karaoke bar decades ago. Sheldon might have needed a contract to fall in love, but for our next star, the sparks flew without any legal paperwork. Kaley Cuoco, Penny. If Penny was the heart of the show, then Kaley Cuoco has been the beating heart of Hollywood's romantic headlines for over a decade. Unlike her character, who spent years in a will-they-won't-they dance with the nerd next door, Kaley's real-life romantic journey has been a high-speed, high-stakes adventure filled with professional athletes, secret co-stars, and a fairy tale ending that finally stuck. To understand Kaley's love life, you have to look past the sitcom tropes and see a woman who wears her heart on her sleeve. regardless of how many times the tabloids try to spin the narrative. The most shocking revelation for the Big Bang fandom didn't come from a script, but from a retrospective interview years later. Kaley and Johnny Galecki actually dated in secret for 2 years during the early seasons of the show. While Penny and Leonard were navigating their first awkward dates on screen, Kaley and Johnny were falling in love behind the scenes. They managed to keep their relationship completely under wraps, fearing that if the public knew they were dating, and they eventually broke up, it would ruin the magic of the show. When they did eventually split, they managed to do the impossible: stay best friends. It's a testament to Kaley's character that she could continue filming intimate scenes with her ex for another decade without a hint of bitterness. After the Galecki era, Kaley's romantic life took a turn toward the athletic. She had a whirlwind marriage to professional tennis player Ryan Sweeting in 2013, marrying him after only a few months of dating. Clad in a pink wedding dress, she looked every bit the rebel bride. But the marriage ended in divorce just 21 months later. Kaley, ever the optimist, didn't let the heartbreak sour her on the idea of forever. She soon found love again with professional equestrian Carl Cook. Their shared passion for horses, Kaley is an accomplished rider herself, seemed like a match made in heaven. They married in 2018 in a spectacular stable-side ceremony, but by 2021, they announced their uncoupling, proving that sometimes even the most perfect-looking Instagram pairings have their expiration dates. However, the third time truly was the charm. In early 2022, Kaley met Ozark actor Tom Pelphrey at the Ozark premiere, and she describes it as love at first sight.
You know, it's weird. I actually saw Brad hand him $20 before we walked up, which is really weird. I don't think Jim needs $20, but...
She famously said that the angels started singing, and for the first time, she felt a connection that was grounded and mature. The couple moved fast, but with a different energy than her previous relationships. By April 2023, Kaley and Tom welcomed their first child, a daughter named Matilda. Kaley often shares glimpses of their life on social media, showing a side of herself that is softer and more settled than the frantic energy of her 20s. Tom seems to be the calm to her storm, supporting her through her transition from sitcom star to critically acclaimed producer and lead of The Flight Attendant. While Penny eventually settled down with Leonard and a surprise pregnancy in the series finale, Kaley's real life has been far more cinematic. She has navigated the pressures of being the highest-paid woman on television while searching for a partner who could handle her ambition, her love for animals, and her relentless work ethic. Today, seeing her with Tom and Matilda, it's clear that while Leonard Hofstadter was the dream guy for Penny, Tom Pelphrey is the partner Kaley was waiting for all along. She's finally found her happy ever after, and it didn't even require a move to the 4th floor of a building with a broken elevator. Penny may have found her soulmate in a physicist, but her on-screen husband's real-life dating history is a little more rock and roll. Johnny Galecki, Leonard Hofstadter. In the world of The Big Bang Theory, Leonard Hofstadter was the king of the long game, pining after the girl next door with a mix of insecurity and hope. But in the real world, Johnny Galecki has always carried a much cooler, slightly more mysterious energy. While Leonard was worried about his lactose intolerance and his mother's psychological experiments, Johnny was cultivating a reputation as a soulful, rock and roll leading man with a penchant for keeping his private life exactly that, private. His dating history reads less like a script for a nerd-centric sitcom and more like a chronicle of Hollywood's most low-key, meaningful connections. As we already touched upon in Kaley's section, the most significant Big Bang romance was the one nobody saw coming. Johnny and Kaley's secret 2-year relationship from 2008 to 2010 was a masterclass in discretion. Johnny later explained that they kept it quiet because they didn't want the fans' perception of Leonard and Penny to be colored by the actors' real-life breakups or arguments. When they finally called it quits, it wasn't because of a dramatic blowout or a scandalous betrayal. They simply realized they were better as friends. This maturity allowed Johnny to remain a pillar of support for Kaley throughout her subsequent marriages, and he is often seen in the front row of her life's biggest milestones. It's a rare Hollywood feat to turn a secret romance into a lifelong, platonic bond. After his time with Kaley, Johnny was linked to several creative women, including actress Kelly Garner. The two were together for about 2 years and were often spotted at red carpet events looking incredibly happy and effortlessly stylish. Johnny has always been attracted to women who share his artistic sensibilities, and his relationship with Kaley was characterized by a mutual respect for their respective crafts. Even after they split in 2014, the theme of Johnny's life remained consistent. He stays friends with his exes. There's a certain Leonard-esque kindness to his approach to romance, even if his actual lifestyle involves more vintage motorcycles and leather jackets than physics textbooks. Johnny's most public relationship followed in 2018 when he began dating Elena Meyer. The age gap between the two made headlines, but the couple seemed unfazed, frequently sharing photos of their travels and their gothic chic aesthetic. In November 2019, the couple welcomed a son named Avery. Becoming a father at 44 seemed to change Johnny's perspective entirely. He retreated further from the Hollywood spotlight to focus on his Nashville lifestyle, trading the glitz of Los Angeles for a more rugged, rural existence. Although Johnny and Elena eventually went their separate ways in 2020, they remained committed co-parents, ensuring that Avery remained their top priority. In a move that surprised fans in early 2024, it was revealed that Johnny had quietly married again and even welcomed a second child, a daughter. His new wife, Morgan Galecki, is someone he has kept almost entirely out of the public eye, save for a few artistic photos in Architectural Digest showing off their stunning, moody home. This transition into a private family man marks a full-circle moment for Johnny. While Leonard Hofstadter's life was defined by his year's need for external validation from his mother, from Penny, from his peers, Johnny Galecki has found peace by stepping away from the noise. He's no longer the guy waiting for the girl to notice him. He's the guy who built a fortress of privacy and filled it with a family of his own. Leonard finally got his happy ending, but his best friend's real-life marriage is basically a script for a Hollywood rom-com. Simon Helberg, Howard Wolowitz. On screen, Howard Wolowitz was a man defined by his boundary-pushing pickup lines and an almost supernatural confidence that eventually led him into the arms of Bernadette. In reality, Simon Helberg's path to happily ever after was less about smooth talking and more about a series of events so chaotic they actually inspired a feature film. Simon has been married to actress and director Jocelyn Towne since 2007. But their journey to the altar involved a breakup, a trip across the Atlantic, and a proposal that Simon himself has described as pitiful. It turns out that while Howard was busy trying to woo women with magic, Simon was living out a real-life romantic comedy that makes the Wolowitz wedding look like a walk in the park. The drama began just as Simon was preparing to propose. In a moment of intense self-doubt, he decided that before he could commit to Jocelyn, he needed to systematically destroy his life. He broke up with her, citing a sudden desire for a more exciting existence, only to realize almost immediately that he had made a catastrophic mistake. Jocelyn, not one to wait around for a change of heart, moved to Paris to start a new chapter. Realizing he couldn't live without her, Simon followed her to France, eventually tracking her down while she was dating someone else. He ended up staying in the same house as her new suitor in a scenario that sounds like a sitcom B-plot. This exercise in self-destruction became the basis for their 2014 film We'll Never Have Paris, which the couple co-directed and starred in together. Despite the early turbulence, the couple has built one of the most enduring and creative partnerships in Hollywood. Jocelyn, who comes from a family of industry heavyweights, her uncle is the legendary screenwriter Robert Towne, is a powerhouse in her own right. She wrote and directed the indie drama I Am I, which featured Simon and was funded through a successful Kickstarter campaign. Their professional synergy is rare. They frequently collaborate under their production banner, Wildline Entertainment, proving that they are just as effective as business partners as they are as spouses. While Howard Wolowitz needed a relationship agreement 2.0 to stay on track, Simon and Jocelyn seem to thrive on the shared madness of the creative process. The couple officially tied the knot in July 2007, just months before The Big Bang Theory premiered and changed their lives forever. Since then, they have welcomed 2 children, a daughter named Adeline, born in 2012, and a son named Wilder, born in 2014. Simon has often joked about his role as a father, noting that his kids are the only people he is actually bigger than, which allows him to finally throw his weight around. Unlike his character Howard, who lived with his mother well into adulthood, Simon has fully embraced his role as the patriarch of a private, tight-knit family unit. Today, the Helberg Towne household remains one of the most grounded in the industry. They are frequently seen together at theater openings and red carpet events, usually looking like the coolest, most intellectual couple in the room. They don't shy away from using their platform for causes they care about either. They famously made headlines at the 2017 SAG Awards when they used their red carpet walk to display messages in support of refugees. While Howard Wolowitz was the first of the guys to get married on the show, Simon Helberg was the first in real life, proving that even a pitiful proposal can lead to a lifetime of success. Howard's love life was a roller coaster, but for our next star, the search for love led to a literal beauty queen. Kunal Nayyar, Rajesh Koothrappali. In the world of The Big Bang Theory, Raj Koothrappali's romantic life was defined by a literal inability to speak to women without a drink in his hand. For years, fans watched him navigate loneliness with a mix of canine companionship and astrophysics. However, the real-life story of Kunal Nayyar is a complete 180-degree turn from Raj's social struggles. Kunal didn't just find love, he found it with Neha Kapur, a former Miss India and high-fashion model, who has been his partner in a global, decade-long romance that feels more like a cinematic masterpiece than a sitcom subplot. The two met in 2008 during a trip Kunal took to New Delhi, his hometown. While his character was still stuttering in front of Penny, Kunal was making a bold first move at a bar launch party. He spotted Neha, who stands at a striking 5 feet 10 inches, and was instantly floored by her presence. In a moment that would have made Raj faint, Kunal walked right up to her. He later joked that his first thought was that she was way out of his league, but he leaned in anyway and offered to buy her a drink. That one conversation sparked a connection that neither saw coming. They spent the next 9 days in Delhi together, bonding over their shared childhood experiences in the city and discovering a rawness of emotion that hooked Kunal within just 2 hours of meeting her. Despite the instant spark, the couple had to navigate a challenging long-distance relationship early on. Neha was a successful model in India, having won the Femina Miss India Universe title in 2006, while Kunal was based in Los Angeles as the show began its meteoric rise. They balanced the highs and lows of being miles apart until 2011, when they decided to make it official. Their wedding was a legendary 6-day affair in New Delhi, attended by 1,000 guests. The festivities were a deep dive into tradition, featuring henna tattoos, a garland ritual, and a week of partying that Kunal described as quite hectic, but spiritually profound. It was a far cry from the small, often disastrous dates Raj endured on screen. Since moving to Los Angeles to be with Kunal, Neha has carved out an impressive identity of her own. She launched her own luxury fashion brand, Hensley, which blends Western silhouettes with the rich luxe fabrics of her heritage. Kunal has frequently spoken about how important it is that Neha has her own independent life and career, noting that their marriage thrives on space and mutual freedom. They are a private duo by choice, but when they do step out on a red carpet, they are consistently one of the most stylish couples in Hollywood, so much so that Kunal once joked that even Princess Kate Middleton took a moment to tell Neha how beautiful she was during a royal meeting. Today, the couple lives a nomadic and glamorous life, splitting their time between homes in Los Angeles, London, and India. Their LA residence, a stunning Tudor-style estate previously owned by Nicolas Cage, serves as their main sanctuary, where they enjoy quiet nights with their dog, Boba Fett. While Raj Koothrappali spent 12 seasons searching for a partner who could truly see him, Kunal Nayyar found his champion in a bar in Delhi before the show even became a global phenomenon. It's the ultimate geek meets goddess success story, proving that real life can sometimes be even more rewarding than a scripted happy ending. While Raj was searching for a connection, the show's leading lady of science was navigating a very different kind of academic romance. Mayim Bialik, Amy Farrah Fowler. While Amy Farrah Fowler was spending years patiently and occasionally aggressively waiting for Sheldon Cooper to notice her as a romantic being, Mayim Bialik was navigating the complexities of a real-life academic and creative partnership. In a case of life imitating art, Mayim, who actually holds a PhD in neuroscience, found herself drawn to a partner who shares her deep intellectual curiosity and passion for mental health. But before she found her current lab partner in life, Mayim navigated a decade of marriage and the high-profile challenges of being a single mother in the Hollywood spotlight. Mayim's first major chapter in love began long before she joined the Big Bang cast. In 2003, she married Michael Stone in a Victorian-themed ceremony that reflected her traditional values. The couple spent nearly a decade together, raising two sons, Miles and Frederick. However, in 2012, right as Amy Farrah Fowler was becoming a series regular, Mayim announced their divorce. True to her analytical nature, she didn't handle the split with tabloid drama. Instead, she became a vocal advocate for successful divorce, emphasizing a co-parenting style so harmonious that she, her ex-husband, and his new partner often spend holidays together. She famously noted that while their nuclear family ended, their commitment to being a family for their children never wavered. After the divorce, Mayim spent several years navigating the dating world with the same cautious, slightly bewildered energy her character might have used to study a new specimen. She even blogged about her experiences with dating apps and the exceptional iteration of herself she found in a 5-year relationship with an unnamed boyfriend that ended in 2018. But the real breakthrough came when she reconnected with a longtime acquaintance, Jonathan Cohen. The two had actually met at a toddler's birthday party over a decade ago, but it wasn't until they found common ground in their shared passion for mental health advocacy that the sparks truly flew. Jonathan Cohen isn't just Mayim's boyfriend, he is her creative and professional partner. He is a writer, poet, and futurist with an MFA and a deep background in mindfulness and healing. In 2021, the pair launched their hit podcast, Mayim Bialik's Breakdown, where they dive deep into the science of mental health. Their dynamic on the show is a fan favorite. They trash-talk each other with the kind of comfortable intimacy that only comes from a deeply secure bond. Mayim has described Jonathan as the partner who helped her survive the beast of the early 20s, crediting him with being the emotional stabilizer she needed during her whirlwind transition from sitcom star to Jeopardy host. What makes Mayim and Jonathan's relationship so refreshing is how they prioritize mental wellness over red carpet optics. They often share videos of themselves playing Hit the Penny, a childhood game Mayim taught him, or discussing energy work and vulnerability. Like Amy and Sheldon, they are two high-functioning, deeply intellectual individuals who have found a way to bridge their different perspectives. Jonathan brings the creative energy side, while Mayim brings the hard science. Today, they are a power duo in the wellness space, proving that for Mayim, the most important relationship agreement wasn't a contract on a script, but a shared mission to make the world a little more self-aware. Amy Farrah Fowler finally found her Nobel-winning love, but our final star found her perfect match in a writing partner who changed her life. Melissa Rauch, Bernadette Rostenkowski-Wolowitz. In the high-energy world of the Big Bang Theory, Bernadette was the tiny powerhouse who could command a room with a single high-pitched sentence. Off-camera, Melissa Rauch is just as much of a powerhouse, but her real-life dynamic is centered on a deep, decades-long creative partnership that predates her sitcom fame. While Bernadette was busy managing Howard Wolowitz, Melissa was building an empire with her husband, Winston Rauch, formerly Winston Beigel, a writer and producer who has been her primary collaborator since their days as college freshmen. Their relationship is a rare Hollywood story of a writing duo that turned into a life duo, proving that sometimes the best romantic partner is the one who helps you polish your punchlines. The two met while they were both students at Marymount Manhattan College, long before Melissa was a household name. They weren't just classmates. They became fast friends and creative foils, spending their free time writing sketches and developing comedic material. This early foundation proved vital when they moved to Los Angeles. Melissa has shared that, in the early years of her career, when acting work was scarce, Winston was her rock. To keep their spirits up during the lean times, They would use their season passes to Disney World as a form of antidepressant, heading to Space Mountain whenever a job didn't pan out. This era of close quarters in a tiny apartment served as the ultimate training ground for their relationship, teaching them how to navigate professional stress without letting it spill into their personal bond. One of the most unique aspects of their marriage is a modern twist on tradition. Winston took Melissa's last name after they wed in 2007. While the move was unconventional, it speaks to the egalitarian nature of their partnership. They are frequently credited together on projects, most notably the 2015 film The Bronze, which they co-wrote and produced. Winston even watched from behind the camera as Melissa filmed the movie's famously acrobatic scene, displaying a level of professional security and humor that mirrors the team mentality they've cultivated for over 16 years. More recently, they continued their streak of collaborations by executive producing the revival of Night Court, where Melissa stars as Judge Abby Stone. Beyond their professional accolades, the couple's personal journey has been marked by a profound openness about the challenges of building a family. Melissa has been incredibly transparent about her path to motherhood, writing a powerful essay for Glamour in 2017. She spoke candidly about the profound sorrow of experiencing a miscarriage and the emotional toll of infertility. By sharing her story, she aimed to provide comfort to other women on the difficult road to pregnancy, emphasizing that while the journey was hard, it made her more grateful for every moment she had. Today, the couple are proud parents to 2 children, a daughter named Sadie, born in December 2017, and a son named Brooks, whom they welcomed in May 2020 during the height of the global pandemic. Despite being part of one of the biggest shows in television history, Melissa and Winston have managed to keep their family life relatively private. They don't flood social media with photos of their children, choosing instead to focus their public presence on their work and charitable efforts. They even co-founded a charity together, further cementing their status as a power couple who are more interested in making an impact than chasing headlines. Melissa often calls Winston her best friend and the love of her life, and it's clear that their success is a shared victory. While Bernadette found her match in an aerospace engineer, Melissa found hers in a college writing partner who was willing to take her name and build a life, one script at a time. From the secret on-set romances that mirrored the scripts to the decades-long marriages that weathered the storm of overnight superstardom, the cast of The Big Bang Theory proves that real life is often more heartwarming than a sitcom finale. Whether it's finding love at a karaoke bar or building a production empire with a college sweetheart, these actors found the stability they needed to portray our favorite nerds for 12 legendary years. The show may have started with a big bang, but for these 7 stars, it's the quiet, real-life connections that truly define their universe. If you loved this deep dive into the real-life chemistry of the Pasadena gang, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss another Bazinga moment.